In today's video, we're going to be talking about a very common question and something that's talked about amongst the entire community, and that is DCUO worth coming back to? Is DCUO dying? What is the state of DC Universe? If you guys do not know, DC Universe officially launched in 2011. It's now been over 15 years of the game being, well, quote-unquote, alive. We're going to talk about, is the game dead or is it dying? Or how long do we think that DC is going to last? And also, is it worth coming back to? I did make a video in the past, and I put it on the screen of essentially, is it worth coming back to DC? And it's crazy how I made that video, like I believe like a month ago, and in just a month, so much has changed. So we're going to be kind of touching on a few new things. Some of the things aren't new, but they're getting very abusive to where it's really worth mentioning. Now, the number one thing I want to talk about is DC Universe, again, has been a childhood game for me. I've played it for so many years. But the thing is, the game has gotten to a point now where it's very, very, very pay to progress, and you need to pay. Like, there's so many paywalls, and the game has now felt like it's more like a full-time job or like a full-time girlfriend that you have to maintenance, whatever what analogy you want to use, instead of just a game that you can come home and have fun with. Now, I know some people are going to argue that you can still have fun in the game by playing free-to-play, or you can have fun playing casually, but the reality is the majority of players like to have what everyone else has. The majority of players like to have the best items. The majority of players like to have the best styles. That is just a normal trend in just the human species in general, and what I realized is that DC Universe is making everything very exclusive, and they're hiding it behind these FOMO, which if you guys don't know what that means, I'll put it on the screen, but it's these FOMO events or FOMO capsules or something like that, where you have to either progressively play every single day and do a certain mission for 20 days straight, or you have to pay $50 to hundreds of dollars to unlock an item. It's not like, oh, you just get it naturally. You know, if for the OGs, if you remember back in the day, you would open booster bundles, you would pay for an episode content. You may buy replay badges or a power token, but you didn't have to buy an ability itself. You didn't have to buy out an event. Nowadays they're putting skill point tokens inside of these events, and they just don't care that there's some people who, some people, like I know I have a bunch of friends who are like in the military, and they go overseas maybe for a few months. They come back, now they're missing certain abilities that are meta. It's unfortunate, and then people are obligated to want to buy an account. But then they say, oh, it's against terms of services. If you guys did not know, if you buy accounts, but a lot of people tend to do that because they don't really have a choice, do they? They don't really have a choice, since everything is like behind paywalls and everything is behind exclusivity. When people want to come back to DC Universe, even if they do want to pay, they can't. Like right now, you got people who, let's say they want the Spore Pod or the Magma, they can't get it, even if they wanted to pay. So that's definitely a big problem with DC Universe. Not only that, but then you got like the ally system. The way that if you guys have not noticed by now, I mean, it doesn't take big brain. And this is something that's going to make me, and before I continue talking, I do want to say, like, I pretty much have everything in the game. And even though I have everything in the game, I still I'm not happy. It doesn't, because I'm a competitive player and I want to be able to compete with other players. And obviously, if you guys watch my content, watch my streams, you watch my videos, you'll see I'm usually top DPS. Now, the reason why I'm usually top DPS is obviously because I know what I'm doing, but it's also just the simple fact that I have everything in the game, and I'm well aware of that. Some people say, oh, LV has a big ego. Realistically, I don't. Some people can perceive it that way, but I'm well aware that part of the reason why I'm able to do what I do is, for one, I spend a lot of time on the game, and two, I have everything in the game. I have all the iconics, I have max CR, I have all the allies, arts, skill points, you name it. But not everybody has that. Some people don't even have close to that, and even if they wanted to pay for it, even if they wanted to grind for it, it's just not possible. And the game is set up to punish people who have multiple characters. The game is set up to punish new players, and it makes it really hard. People will tell me, hey, Helvy, make a beginner's guide, and I just look at them eye to eye and just say, hey, how the hell do I even make a beginner's guide? If I even try to make a beginner's guide, it's just going to include a bunch of you swiping your card. Swipe your card, swipe your card. Like, for example, let's go into a quick beginner guide. If you really wanted to advance as a new player, the best thing you could do is just hit a CR skip. And after you do a CR skip, guess what? Now you need DC cash. Why do you need DC cash? Because if you wanted to get your feats up, first thing you want to do is get through all these time capsule feats. So with that being said, I mean, it's like if I was to even make a beginner guide, it would be a lot of just pay. And let's say, for the people who, like, again, who are going to say, oh, you can free to play the game. Anybody who's free to play in the game will never in their life be able to get all the stuff that I have. No matter how much you try, no matter how much you play, you won't be able to get all the stuff that I have. Even if you play 24 hours for the rest of your life. One way or another, the only way you can achieve my level of an account is if you put money into the game, and it should not be that way. It just should not be that way. But either way, let's talk about the free-to-play people. The people who are free-to-play and are grinding their way through getting certain things, the reality is that those people think that, oh, I'm getting the stuff for free, but they don't realize that your biggest asset as a person and something that you cannot get back is your time. So if you're sitting there every day, let's say farming for, DC cash, or you're farming for skill points and it's taken forever, or you're farming Nef medals, dude, that is time that you could put something else. It shouldn't have to take you, 10 to 12 hours every single day of your life just to be able to progress in getting what you want to get in the game. The game should be like something that, yeah, you may have to grind it a little bit, maybe you have to put in some little money. That's fine, because again, I do want to remind you guys, the game is free to play, so I don't mind them, taking some money here and there, especially if it's cosmetics. Like, I don't mind booster bundles whatsoever. You never hear me complain about the booster bundles being pricey, because at the end of the day, that's cosmetics. Yeah, you get replay badges, you get a Nef metal detectors, but you're not getting some broken item that's going to make your character be broken over everyone else. I think the booster bundles are great. I don't think anyone has ever in the last 15 years complained that they're too pricey or that they're unfair. Yes, they've released some booster bundles that have not been the greatest, but yet there's no issue with them. Same thing with replay badges. I don't think replay badges have been a big issue. I do think they're a little costly. I think they should be slightly cheaper. But yeah, again, I don't think anyone's really complaining about replay badges. The biggest complaint that you'll see around the community is the artifacts, the allies, and most importantly, the FOMO. If you guys don't know what FOMO means, it's basically anything that creates like a fear of missing out. Anything that's like you're pressured to like buy it or grind it out, and if you don't, you're gonna miss out on something. And that's essentially what these events are. Again, you can see that I completed them. The Blue Lantern and the White Lantern are two huge ring abilities, and you have to literally buy out the event or log in for 20 days straight for each one of them to be able to complete them. And again, people have regular lives. Some people have kids. Some people are working 2 jobs to, like, you know what I mean? Like, people don't have the time to grind it out, and people don't want to feel obligated to have to pay $50 either. And they also obviously don't want to miss out on it. So they kind of just chain you into like having to do it their way. And again, I feel like I genuinely wish DC can come into a middle ground where like they are still making money, they're still making us work for things, but they're not making it too excessive. That's what I genuinely hope that they do. And they genuinely need to stop putting skill points inside of these events, because it's genuinely not fair. Like, there's so many, and they don't even tell you, like, you can't even see the skill points that they added. Like, there's people that are missing so many skill points that came out of these events, or even time capsules. And at least the time capsules, they can technically still get it, but the events, who knows if they'll ever be able to get it. So there's going to be like now exclusive skill points. So let's say even if you wanted to grind your living ass off, or if you wanted to spend even $20,000, now you can't even hit max skill points or even close to it, because there's so many exclusive skill points tied to these events. So I just wanted to give my little rant on it. I think DCUO universe, my personal thing, is DCUO dying? Will it die? My genuine answer to this question is I think it will. Why will it? Because I think a lot of what keeps this game alive that people don't realize is the creators, the people who make the content. And shout out to Obsidian Chill. I never really talked to the guy. I'm not really friends with him, but shout out to him for taking the time of day, and I'm going to show some of his videos, but taking the time of day to make so many videos. DC Universe, these developers have no idea the power of influence. I heard that they paid some random YouTuber money to advertise their game, and yet they don't pay or sponsor, or not even sponsored. They don't even give access to test server to the players that they currently have, or the streamers and YouTubers that they currently have. And I'm not just saying to me, but to everyone, all the creators, we should at least be getting test server access, so that way we can feature the items that they're coming out with, or give us, they should be handing out for the creators, they should be giving us access to these iconics so we can advertise it for them. They would make more money. But the developers simply just don't communicate with the community nor with the creators, and honestly, it's very disappointing. But what I was trying to say is what makes this game what makes this game a community is the creators. If YouTube didn't exist, if people didn't stream, if people didn't make videos, people wouldn't be interested back in the game. If you go look at the past, on the 27th of January, that is when the most recent episode came out. So many players came back to the game because they saw the new hype of the White Lantern, the Blue Lantern, the Harley revamp, new content. So many players came back, players that haven't played for years. Some of you guys who are watching this video, you might have been those players. And then you saw the disappointment in the fact that the servers weren't even working properly, the content was mediocre, and they put you in a very boring, glitchy solo mission. And in doing that, a lot of players stopped playing, literally. Now, I'm still playing the game because I feel obligated to. Now, you may say, why do you feel obligated to? It's just a video game. I feel obligated because I'm obviously a YouTuber and streamer, and also I am a league leader. And I have a league that if I stop playing, a lot of these players won't have someone to make groups for them or feat runs for them or even guide them. They'll just kind of be lost. So I feel like I have this obligation to still play. But to be honest with you guys, I'm not really having much fun. I get top DPS, abusing this water, which I think is absolutely brain dead. There's no accomplishment in using this and spamming the sword ability over and over again. But to be honest with you guys, I'm genuinely not happy with the content. I'm not happy with the meta. I'm not happy with the FOMO. And I'm going to be honest, if you guys see that I stop uploading, there's a chance that I either quit or I'm taking a break. You know, I'm not announcing it officially yet. I'm not trying to say, oh, I'm quitting, and then I'm not, but I'm not too happy with the state of the game. And this is someone who was very excited for DC Universe coming into 26, but I am strongly disappointed with the new content that they just released, and I'm really disappointed that they continue to add these FOMO events, and they keep adding skill points. Like, they just recently added this Valentine's one, and they added a skill point token to it. So now, and they only put, like, I believe 14 days on it. So if you don't play within those 2 weeks, guess what? Now you missed out on a skill point. So I just think it's just ridiculous that they're doing that. And I just wanted to make a video to kind of rant a little bit. Let me know what you guys think. I genuinely feel like if DCUO does not change this, if they don't like meet us in the middle, like they don't figure out how to stop doing these FOMOs, they can make their money. Like, again, I want to say this one more time. This is a free-to-play game. So I understand that they need to make their money. I get it. But they need to find a middle ground to where they're not completely just exploiting the community with these FOMO events and these time capsules. You know, like, it's ridiculous that I have to level up the OP items multiple times per characters if I have alts, or that I have to wolf pack everything, arts, allies. Like, I already paid $250. Not gonna pay an additional $100 just to get a wolf pack to get it on my other character. Same thing with the allies. And then OP items, there is no wolf pack option. I have to continuously level them up on multiple tunes. And you know, and this is something going way back. A lot of players want to play at least 3 characters or 2 characters so they can play multiple roles. Not everyone wants to just do one role. You know, everyone who knows this, like even back in the day, everyone used to have one of each role. That was a normal thing. You know, nowadays people just DPS. Why? Because they don't want to have to spend the money. Like, if you wanted to be a troll, you need so many different artifacts and allies. You know, people nowadays don't want to deal with that. So I just hope that they change it. I hope that they make stuff less like FOMO, where you have to be on the game for 20 days straight, or you have to pay $50. I think it's just ridiculous. And the OP items, like, we have never had 6 OP items at once. Like, this is ridiculous. Now I have to go, like, obviously I don't have to, but if I wanted to maximize my characters, I have to get 6 OP items per tune. Like, that is insane. Like, it's absolutely insane. And the drop rates on these XPs are not high. And I just genuinely feel like they need to make a change. They need to make the change, or the game's going to die. And you know, a lot of people are going to say, oh, people have been saying DC's going to die since 2016. And that's kind of true. People have been saying DC's going to die. But I'm going to tell you guys one thing before I go, for the people who made it this far in this video. DC has only survived, again, like I mentioned earlier, because of the YouTubers. Again, I shout out Mr. Obsidian Chill. He kept this game through its, like, worst times, because he tried to give that positive light when there was not much out there. He tried to look at the positive when there was not much positive to be there, like to talk about. And he got to a point where he got tired of like all of the BS he had to deal with. He got tired of the community, for example, blaming him for the errors of the developers. At the end of the day, I do want to remind you guys, as content creators, we don't decide what's put in the game, what's not put in the game. A lot of people, like, bring their anger towards the iconics or different changes that happen to the game. To me, I don't make these changes. I simply show you guys what they're doing. So at the end of the day, what they do and what they don't do is not up to me. It's not up to any creator. Like I said, they have no communication with us whatsoever. That's part of the reason why Obsidian quit. And a lot of people are telling him to come back, and I don't think he will. I genuinely don't think he will, because I wouldn't if I was him. I'm only here really, as I said, because of my league. But to be honest, the game is in a really critical state. Even as somebody who has everything in the game and is top DPS, it's just not fun. The game is just not fun right now. And I really hope they fix this. This is not a video to shame on DCUO. It's a video to hope that, it gets enough reach to where maybe a developer sees this and maybe he can come into an understanding point that they need to find that middle ground. That middle ground to where they're not simply just making everything money, 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 and everything where you have to grind it for an eternity to be able to get. Not everyone wants to do that. People have full-time jobs. People have multiple characters. People have like different games they want to play. Like this game has become where I only play this game because I don't have time to even play other games. I have to be sacrificing sleep just to be able to run through my dailies, because if I don't run through my dailies, I'll never be able to get my OP items up. So I mean, this is again a rant video, but I hope you guys enjoyed it, and I really hope to hear your opinions. I genuinely just wanted to kind of express myself on the state of DCUO.